This year, Children's Mental Health Week celebrates 10 years of empowering, equipping and sharing resources that give a voice to children and young people across the UK. My Voice Matters, which is this year's theme, focuses on raising awareness among schools, parents and carers alike of the importance of young people being able to use their voice to share what matters most. Speaking of which, you may be aware that physical activity, a stable routine, quality sleep and human connection are just some of the protective characteristics that contribute to good mental health and in this case, the developing minds of our young people. But what, you may also ask, is the real world data that supports these theories and what does it mean in terms of outcomes for the people concerned? Well, a survey that was released last year entitled The Mental Health of Children and Young People in England was commissioned by the NHS and carried out by the Office for National Statistics in conjunction with the National Centre for Social Research and the Universities of Cambridge and Exeter. A strengths and difficulties questionnaire was used to assess different aspects of the mental health of children and young people, including problems with emotions, behaviour, relationships, hyperactivity and concentration. Responses from parents, children and young people were used to estimate the likelihood that a child might have a mental disorder. This was classified as unlikely, possible or probable. The results of the survey showed that in 2023, about 1 in 5 children and young people aged 8 to 25 had a probable mental disorder. In terms of contributing factors, the survey also focused on issues affecting the daily lives of children and young people. For example, children with a probable mental disorder were most likely not to have exercised or taken part in any groups or clubs in the last 7 days. They were also more likely to report feeling lonely, always or often, had a sleep problem within the last week, missed more than 15 days of school in the autumn term of 2022, and to live in a household that had fallen behind on rent, bills or mortgage. As a result, over 30% of children with a probable mental disorder had reported trying to harm themselves, and 9.1% reported being bullied either online or in person. This is compared respectively with 4% and 1.3% of those children deemed unlikely to have a mental disorder. It would appear that based on the available data, the key drivers behind the mental health challenges faced by our children and young people are both multi-layered and changeable over time. For example, and as you'd probably expect, there was a fall in the number of children agreeing to the statement, "I am worried about the effect that COVID-19 will have on my future exam results," from 43% in 2022 down to 31.6% in 2023. The question, however, still remains as to how we can prevent mental health from becoming a problem, both for ourselves and for the generation that follows. Being aware of the contributing factors we've just spoken about, alongside the measures available to start to counteract them, is one place we could start. Reducing the time it takes to signpost professional help means it's less likely a person will suffer in silence and more likely they'll recover. For this, we need to improve our mental health literacy, with a view to being more assured when spotting the signs or opening up conversations about poor mental health. This includes knowledge of free resources such as Beat, which is the UK's leading charity for eating disorders, alongside the Hub of Hope, which is the UK's largest directory of mental health service providers. In addition, paid options such as the Youth Mental Health First Aid course train the adults in a young person's life to have the skills and confidence to step in, offer first aid and guide them towards the support they need. In general, overstimulation from screen time and the internet is linked to several types of harmful behaviour. Social media, for example, continually encourages us to compare ourselves to others. In extreme cases, this can be a risk factor for poor self-image and increased social anxiety. To protect the mental health of ourselves and our children, we need to be more mindful of our relationship with technology, specifically how screen time throughout the day and during the evenings impacts our ability to concentrate, self-regulate and get a good night's sleep. Bearing in mind that in 2023, of children with a probable mental disorder, over 75% of them had a sleep problem 3 or more times during the previous 7 nights, compared with just 25% of the children deemed unlikely to have a mental disorder. Regular physical activity has been proven to prevent and manage non-communicable disease, as well as improve mental and physical well-being. At the same time, 27% of children with a probable mental disorder had a parent that could not afford for their child to take part in activities outside of school or college. In addition, a 2023 report released by the House of Commons showed that 22% of reception-age children aged 4 to 5 were either overweight or obese, with the same figure increasing to nearly 38% for Year 6 children aged 10 to 11. It pains me to say that as disturbing as these figures sound, as of now, I couldn't find any organisation that offered free physical activity for children. I'm aware that the situation may differ from one local authority to another, and so if you're a parent, carer or teacher watching this and are aware of organisations that provide a free service for kids to get active, please let us know about it in the comment section. Until then, if you're struggling for options, I suggest that you keep things simple. This could include anything from walking in a local park or nature trail, dancing in the living room, or finding a yoga routine that you and your child can complete together. It occurs to me that if we're going to have more accessible conversations about the mental health of our children, we must first have actual conversation. The reason I say this is because through a combination of our increased reliance on screens for entertainment, it has never been easier for us to go for extended periods of time without face-to-face human interaction. Being mindful and making the most of the opportunities to have meaningful conversation with the people we live with is one step we can take towards normalizing the topic of mental health in the home. Lastly, if you're concerned about the mental well-being of a young person in your care, the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service, also known as CAHMS, is the name of the NHS services that treat children and young people for emotional, behavioural and mental health difficulties. They are usually reached through a professional such as a teacher, GP, social worker or school nurse who can put you in touch with your local children and young people's mental health services. If you've gotten value from this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us on our journey as we continue to produce content that makes the conversation about mental health, well-being and inclusion more accessible.